If you were to ask me, right, as a brother, right, if you ask me what major event was I at?
So I was in Koh Lipe in Thailand when the tsunami come.
When Nelson Mandela came to Brixton.
Welcome back to No Ordinary Life, where ordinary people like Gavin,
Okay.
Julie, Anne, Andy,
Push that back.
April,
Okay.
Susanna,
It's really funny.
Spencer, Sarah, and B
I'm just painting pictures,
talk about their extraordinary lives.
What big historical event do I remember in my life?
Big historic event.
Big historic event in my life.
I remember the JFK assassination.
I remember the moon landing.
The death of Princess Diana.
Princess Diana passing away.
Comment below.
I was in my mother's hairdresser's shop.
I remember being at my dad's house.
I was at home.
In New Zealand, we don't have many two-story houses, so it was very memorable because it was a two-story house.
When my cousin came in and said Kennedy has been killed.
And I remember being in the kitchen rather.
An American president killed in Texas.
And hearing on the radio.
Should that have a profound effect on people in the village in Swansea?
My dad went to the funeral.
She was quite a famous figure in popular culture and in New Zealand.
Well, the park where you could watch it on a big screen.
I remember her dying incredibly vividly.
It did. And I think seemed to have an effect right around the world.
I think it has to be when they announced Brexit.
If I remember,
I was laying a tent at Glastonbury on a massive come down.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
And all I could hear was these conversations around me in other people's tents.
My mother being almost in tears.
About how we were going to be leaving Europe.
Thinking it was going to be another world war.
And I thought it was a nightmare.
My parents took the Daily Express newspaper.
No one expected it.
And I remember that paper on the breakfast table one morning.
And then everyone started coming out of the tents and started to talk about it.
With the banner headline, World War III ?
And I've never seen anyone talk so much sense at Glastonbury in the past.
Breaking the rule, the newspapers.
But all of a sudden it was all about Brexit.
You don't put a question mark in a headline unless you know the answer.
I mean, people soon forgot about it within a matter of hours there.
And nobody knew the answer to that question.
If you were to ask me, right, as a brother, right, if you ask me what major event was I at? When Nelson Mandela came to Brixton and shook my brother's hand and Von met him off the plane. But I was like, my brother was stood there on the thing, and Prince Charles had come down, or King Charles had come down to escort the father of the people. I was on the non-stop picket for like 4 years at Trafalgar Square, championing against apartheid. So, you know, a man like a way to power to the people. And all of the brothers and sisters that were down there with me, that they would have loved to have been like where I was, and just to see his face, you know what I mean? It was just amazing.
Stay tuned.
So I was in Koh Lipe in Thailand.
I remember being in the newsroom. Somebody said, put the TV on, the plane has crashed.
A huge life-changing event.
When the tsunami come.
It's changed life. Life will never be the same again.
Those who live through it, you know instantly, this changes everything.
The conversation continues.
I remember the Queen's coronation.
Historic event.
And what stuck in my mind, because bear in mind I was living in Knightsbridge then.
Oh.
So I went over to Hyde Park to see the procession.
So I was in Koh Lipe in Thailand.
It was raining.
When the tsunami come.
I never ever forgotten Queen Salotti sitting in her carriage.
Going for holiday that time with my bunch of certain friends by my hometown.
Waving All the others had hoods and things up, you know. She was wonderful.
In the island got no phone signal, no internet, no TV.
And it was a wonderful occasion, that.
Sea Gypsy with Chow Lay people. Chow, run up, run up.
Tell us your story.
Big wave, my friend was like, they say it was big wave.
I've been through a lot of historical events in my life,
You have to run up high place somewhere.
but the main one I can think of right now, the main one that springs to mind is COVID.
Had a big movement,
It was a kind of a slow burner, and we all wondered what was going on, and we all panicked a little bit.
like a rise up water and just go back down.
A huge life-changing event
The wave just breaking out before it hit Lipe.
for the world.
I said we were really lucky.
It's changed life. Life will never be the same again. Things will never be the same again.
It was certainly the most devastating world event to date that I can remember.
I do remember 9/11.
I remember being in the newsroom in Gloucester.
I was at university at the time. I remember waking up.
I was coming back from London from a meeting.
Somebody said, put the TV on, the plane has crashed into a tower in New York. Saw another plane fly straight into it.
Terrorists flew planes into the two towers, the World Trade Center.
Which is absolutely devastating.
And thinking everything has changed.
Not really understanding how something like that could happen.
Looking at the TV screen, seeing the fire.
People just sitting there in disbelief, not really understanding, watching it on TV.
Because it was obvious then that it was a terrorist attack.
Don't miss an episode. Subscribe.
Just seeing the repetition of the planes flying into the tower over and over again.
Looking at it, the world was not going to be the same. It was one of those moments, those who lived through it, you know instantly, this changes everything.
And I do remember at the time,
And it did change everything.
I was quite conscious of friends of my sons who were Muslim.
And we're still living through it.
And I wanted to make sure they didn't sort of suffer any abuse as a result of it.
And we will be living through it for a long time.
We're all the same, and they shouldn't be made to suffer.
Next time.
My school days, I absolutely loved.
You used to leave your kids outdoors, send them out at 9 a.m. They used to come back 9 p.m. All of them together.
Teachers actually beating pupils.
School was
Illegal games like genocide. We used to play genocide at school.
it was bearable.
Do you remember?
I still remember it so clearly. It horrified me.
It was best days of my life. Wish I could go back.
No Ordinary Life. Thank you for watching.
Do I have faith? I don't have a religious faith, but I have faith in the world going round. I have faith in spring coming after winter. I have faith in the flowers coming up. Faith is out there. Faith is the universe. Just keep going.
Subscribe to keep the conversation going. And don't forget to ring the bell.